Good evening, welcome. Today's video is inspired by a little family trip today. Hi, my name is Travis Ludbrook and we're coming to you live from the Gold Coast this afternoon, and I'm going to be sharing with you some of our awesome tips on how we look after our kids health-wise. Now, how can we get our kids as adults to eat healthy and without turning mealtimes into an absolute battle zone or into a war zone? Now, this is a number one hot topic tip or hot topic discussion point around the mums coffee circles, so I've been told. So we're going to share with you this afternoon some of our 8 steps and some of our tips on that we've used right throughout from when Jack was first started out as a baby, and now he's 8. And also with Sammy, he's 5, and we use these steps week in, week out to give them the best possible chance of being a healthy adult as they go on into their life and live up to their potential. So today's video is inspired by a trip that we took, a family trip today to SeaWorld here on the Gold Coast, and we had an action-packed day. The kids loved it. We saw the dolphin show and got to chat to a few of the handlers about how they rescue animals. It was really good to be able to chat to them and discuss how they go about their role in the community, helping animals that need saving. We live here on the Gold Coast and we have a massive coastline that there's whales breaching out there at the moment, and it's important that you teach kids that it's not just about going and watching a couple of dolphins flip around. It's all about animal welfare and conservation also. Good to see a few people have popped on. Gina and Jess, thank you for stopping by. I think this topic could be something that you could be interested in, hopefully. I know that when I spoke to my wife about it, she said absolutely it's a great topic, and I know a lot of people could get some benefit from it. So if you're interested in how you can improve the opportunity for your kids to have better health, then you want to stick around for this video, and it could just be for you. So today I mentioned we were at SeaWorld, and to be honest, I'll have to say I was a little disappointed to see some of the health choices and food choices that I was seeing parents giving their kids. We took a packed lunch, and as we were sitting there watching the Ninja Turtle show, I was shoveling carrot sticks and cashews and cherry tomatoes in front of both our kids, and they would just take it and shoveling it in. Yes, they did ask for the popcorn, but no, Grumpy Dad said no, you have to have your nutritious food first. I did cave and give him an ice cream on the way out, so I think it's a bit of give and take, and I think that's parenting. One of the parenting tips 101 is, as we all know, that we can't say no all the time. So our steps that we used for our kids are pretty much common sense. There are some awesome tips in here and some steps that my wife and I have used throughout the last 8 years. We made a conscious decision where before the kids were born, actually, that we were going to be good role models for our kids, and that includes what food that we were to serve at meal times. You know, we sit down as a family and have dinner, and just to give them a good base. I think it's really important. Our parents did it for us, so we think it's something that's really important as a family unit, that the health portion or the nutrition portion comes from us. Now, there's all kinds of education out there from schools and from the health authorities. So, I remember back in the day it used to be 4 and 1 or 3 and 2 or 5 and 1. I mean, it's gotten out of control now. So I think the best thing is to do is use common sense, and hopefully some of these steps tonight will really help you out. Now, if you are struggling and you're not too sure on where to turn, and you've got 1 or 2 or multiple children just not being able to, or being responsive to health, to healthy food or to food that you're trying to give them, then my advice is that you stick around, and you definitely want to get these tips at the end. These tips have helped us. You might want to just slot one of them in and incrementally do it over time, and try and create those good habits around food. And once you do that, it's about getting rid of the bad habits and filling them up and taking them over with good habits. So what are our tips? Now, my first tip, or our first step, was, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is to be a good role model. Now, for us, that starts at the home. We eat healthy, nutritious foods almost every day of the week. Now we do have an occasional, pizza or something like that. So it's important that if you're going to ask your child to eat carrots and eat broccoli and eat Brussels sprouts, and not even most adults will eat those, but being winter, they're out in season at the moment and absolutely lovely. So if you're going to ask your kids to eat a nutritious meal, then you have to do the same. They basically watching, even though you don't think they are, they're watching what you do and watching what you eat. So it really starts with us, and that's being real good role models when it comes to health and nutrition. I know my mum was right there front and center, and I thank her for it. She did an absolute amazing job, and for my sister and myself. And we've gone on, at compounds over time, and we've gone on to be healthy, well, hopefully healthy, thriving young adults. Now, tip number two. And tip number two is focusing on the overall diet, not specific foods. Now, this was a real game changer for me because I thought, you have to eat specific foods, but my wife, I have to give her 100% credit for this. She loves to give the kids a balanced diet. Now she'll give them, a little treat here and there, but she'll make sure that over the day they're eating a fully nutritious meal. Now that's carrot sticks, apple, whatever, if they do get a treat. So it's important to understand that it's all about their diet or balanced diet, not specific foods that you have to continually trying to ram down their throat because you want them to be healthy. This was pretty much a game changer. Once we have, obviously we mentioned we have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and the 5-year-old is, I'll have to say, he's a little bit more headstrong. He's a bit like his dad, and he's pretty keen to say no to when he doesn't like something, and we've just at some stages had to say, okay, right, we'll put that aside, but we make sure that we slide other things. So he has extra portions of carrot, he has extra portions of beans, just to make sure that overall he's still getting his vitamins and minerals that he needs to thrive as a young 5-year-old. Now, if you enjoyed that tip, then I'd love for you to interact and drop a comment below and see if you really enjoyed that, and especially even with tip number 1. And tip number 3, this one we have a bit of fun with every now and again. We used to do it pretty much every Friday, but we sort of got to get a little bit switched up with that now. And that is tip number 3, or step 3, is cook more meals at home. Now we, as a family, traditionally have meals on Monday to Friday at home at a set time, and over the weekend it's flexible depending on what's going on, and that's indicative of most families. Plenty of young kids have got activities and stuff on, so I'm not saying that you have to be regimented and eat at home, but have a bit of fun with the kids, engage with them, have fun meals, get them to we make some pizza dough and we get the flour out, and we let them get a little bit messy, then make up a tomato sauce that we make from scratch, and we get them to put it on. They can put their cheese on, so they make their own pizza, so they're actually getting their hands into the food, so they understand that pizza is actually made. It's not something that you pull out from Domino's and then you ring them up on Uber Eats and they drop it at your front door. It's actually, you can make it yourself, and it's it's tasty. It's actually, if it's made properly, it's reasonably nutritious and healthy. So I'm not saying that you have to eat carrot sticks and celery sticks and beetroot juice to be a good role model. It's about teaching kids what healthy and nutritious food is. So that was my tip number 3. And what I really noticed today, and this will come back onto tip number 3, is that a lot of people, well, I'd say over 60% of the people there today were overweight or obese. And I saw a statistic on the news the other night that Australia is creeping up to the USA for being the number 1 country in the world for obesity. Now, 60% of Australians are either overweight or obese. Now, that's over 14 million people. 14 million people in this country are overweight or obese. Now, to me, that's really, really sad, because for over 14 million people, and some of those people are parents, and some of those people are guiding young children on what they should eat and what they should drink. Now, for me, if you don't have the opportunity to give your child the best possible start, then you really need to reach out to someone and say, hey, I'm struggling here, and I need